everyone. This is episode 4 of my series on the 1998 home run chase with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. As a reminder, I decided to do this because ESPN has their documentary coming out on June 14th called Long Gone Summer, which recaps the season. Well, I felt like doing the same thing. The first 3 episodes, we talked about the build-up to the season, and we made our way from March 31st opening day all the way up to early September, and we've made it to where Mark McGwire has 59 home runs. I said at the end of the last video, it worked out perfect that the Cardinals were returning from a road trip for a homestand, and Cincinnati was in town, and McGwire hit his 60th home run off left-hander Dennis Reyes. It was a quintessential McGwire home run. One of those just towering, majestic shots that feels like it's in the air for a half hour, and then when it comes down, it's gone 475 feet. One of those just beautiful home runs to watch. Well, it was kind of interesting because the record was 61. So he hadn't broken the record. He hadn't even tied the record. But it gave you just an appreciation for how big of a name Babe Ruth still was at that time, and still is now, because he had tied Babe Ruth. And that is history in and of itself. If you tie Babe Ruth for home runs in anything, it's a big deal. So that was a special occasion, and that was the only one he'd hit against the Reds. But in what was just kind of a magical type situation, how it worked out, who was coming to town but the Chicago Cubs, Sammy Sosa. So that was a little bit of magic, and you'll see in the next few minutes, there were a series of magical moments that were just too perfect. Well, the Cubs were in town, and it was September 7th. And September 7th was Mark McGwire's dad's 61st birthday. So sure enough, McGwire gets it up, and he hits an absolute laser beam to left field to tie the record. 61 home runs on his dad's 61st birthday. Another one of those truly magical moments that this season had. Now, the next night, September 8th, McGwire was asked in a pregame interview if he thought he was going to break the record, and he didn't want to say, yeah, I think it's going to happen, but what Joe Buck said in the broadcast is he had a little smile come over his face. He kind of thought, yeah, I kind of think I might do it. Well, it was near the end of the homestand, so McGwire was really hoping that he'd be able to break the record in St. Louis. You always want to see history-making moments like this at home. And if not at home, at a place that would cherish it. Like, it was a shame that Tony Gwynn got his 3,000th hit in Montreal in front of 4,000 fans. That was a bummer. So McGwire was trying to avoid doing it on the road. Well, he gets his second at-bat in the top of the 4th inning against Steve Traxel. Steve Traxel had faced the minimum to that point. He was rolling. Well, McGwire goes up, first pitch of the at-bat. He hits maybe the hardest ball he hit all season. But it's low. It's a line drive. So there's no immediate, swing of the bat, hands up, and yeah, I got the record. No. He swings and he takes off running thinking, ooh, I might be having to run hard, get myself a double. I don't know. Well, sure enough, it barely made it over the wall, and he had the record. It was a little ironic that would be the home run that broke the record because it was his shortest home run of the season. This guy, known for the majestic home runs, that feel like they're in the air forever. He breaks the record with a laser beam that goes 341 feet. If it wasn't down the line, it wouldn't have left the ballpark. Ironic, but hey, it works. Well, another interesting part, as that happened, there was an effort to not delay the game that much. Major League Baseball said they wanted to have a ceremony after the game, but they wanted to kind of keep the game moving along. Well, once the moment was there was no stopping kind of what happened. McGwire got to home plate, the team was there, he hugged his son, and then he ran into the stands to greet Roger Maris's family. And at that point, you knew this moment is just going to go on however long it goes. There's no stopping it. And, you know, it just went on. Sammy Sosa came out of right field, and he went up, and McGwire saw him and gave him just a massive bear hug. And they did the little celebration that the Cardinals did where they bump fists and then bump stomachs. They did that. And then McGwire tried to do Sammy Sosa's kisses and peace sign thing. Whatever. I don't remember how to do it. And they were having fun and all that. Someone got a microphone from McGwire, and he thanked the city of St. Louis, the fans, the team, his family, the Maris family, everybody. Well, poor Steve Traxel is out there. He needs to stay warm, so he had faced the minimum, but then he gives up this historic home run, and he really doesn't have a choice but to just throw pitches to stay warm. So he's kind of ignoring the moment, which to someone who doesn't know baseball, it may have looked rude, but he was just making sure that his arm didn't go cold. That's a good way for him to hurt himself or just be terrible the rest of his outing. One funny part, after all the celebration and all that, Mark McGwire still has 5 innings of baseball to play. So he is just totally not in the game. He leaves the game early. And after the game, there's the celebration and the ceremony and all that. Well, remember, that ball that McGwire hit barely made it above the fence. It didn't make it to the fans. It wasn't high enough. So it was down in the bowels of the stadium, and a member of the grounds crew, Tim Farneris, found the ball, and he brought it out, and he was at the podium, and he leaned in on the microphone. He just held the ball and said, "Mr. McGwire, I think I have something that belongs to you," which was just another one of those magical moments. Because the record-breaking ball, the estimates for how much that was going to get at auction or eBay or whatever, out of this world. So they had special baseballs that were used. They took out whatever balls the umpire had in his pocket and the pitcher was using, and they had special ones with special markings that would prove that this was a legitimate baseball, because it was expected that the ball would be in the stands and there could be 100 fans claiming, "I've got the ball." Well, he got it and he just gave it to him. The Cardinals also gave him something too, except theirs was a 1962 Chevy Corvette, which is awesome because Corvettes. Anyway, after all that happened, McGwire, he took a week before he got his 63rd home run. In the meantime, Sosa hit 4 home runs in 3 days to catch McGwire and tie him at 62. After that, they both went to Milwaukee in separate road trips, and McGwire hit 2 more home runs, got robbed of a 3rd one. There's 2 fences in Milwaukee. There's the outfield fence and then a fence for the fans. And someone reached over that outer fence, and because of that, the umpire ground ruled double, even though he shouldn't have, which was a bummer. Well, Sosa went right after to Milwaukee, and he hit home runs. So Milwaukee got spoiled right at the end of the season. After that, the Cubs went to Houston, and Sosa hit one more monster home run off of Jose Lima in the old Astrodome, and he ended up with 66 home runs. Well, McGwire had 66 himself with 2 games left against the Montreal Expos. Game 161, he hits 2 home runs, 67 and 68. Everyone's thinking, wow, 68 home runs, one more game, can he hit one more? Well, he did. In one at bat, he hit number 69. And Joe Buck was calling the game, and his call kind of suggested to me that he was thinking, you know what, this call might be played in highlight videos or whatever. So he's like, as he always does, back at the track at the wall, he's calling out, back at the track at the wall, historic number 69. Because he's thinking, this is the last one, this is the record-setting home run. Well, there was no guarantee that McGwire was going to get another at-bat, but he did. And everyone's thinking, there's no way. No way. 70 home runs. Well, sure enough, he did it. And comparing the calls, Joe Buck wasn't ready for that one, I don't think. Because McGwire hits the ball, and Joe Buck, instead of, back at the track of the wall, he just, like his voice is almost cracking, or he's screaming. It's too loud that the microphone, it's kind of muffled almost. He just screamed, into left field! He's super excited. It's just happy to watch as someone following this. And number 70, and that's how he ended the season. The final at-bat with a home run. Another magical moment. It was just perfect. I don't know how to describe the season as a whole, as any other way, except to say it was perfect. Everyone was hoping this record would be set. It got set in dramatic fashion. And McGwire put a period on that season in a perfect way. I'm starting to get nostalgic thinking about it. And I'll talk about more things like that in our last episode of this series. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Leave some comments. What were your favorite home runs? Were you at any of these games? Did you see them in person? I want to know. We'll see you in our last episode, episode 5.